Hi everyone, I'm Linda Reimer, one of the librarians at the Southeast Bend County Library. Welcome to Library Connections, our weekly readers, viewers, and listeners advisory videocast. Enjoy. Library Connections number 75. This is the Friday, October 29th, 2021 edition of Library Connections. Jumping right in with the top 5 fiction bestsellers for this week from the New York Times. At number 1, The Judge's List by John Grisham, the second book in the Whistler series. Investigator Lacey Stoltz goes after a serial killer and closes in on a sitting judge. At number 2, The Lincoln Highway by Amor. Two friends who escaped from a juvenile work farm take Emmett Watson on an unexpected journey to New York City in 1954. At number 3, The Wish by Nicholas Sparks. Maggie Dawes, a renowned travel photographer, struggles with a medical diagnosis over Christmas. At number 4, State of Terror by Hillary Rodham Clinton and Louise Penny. In the wake of the previous administration's mishandling of international affairs, the new Secretary of State, Ellen Adams, confronts interconnected global threats. And at number 5, It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. A battered wife, raised in a violent home, attempts to halt the cycle of abuse. Moving on to the top 5 nonfiction bestsellers for this week. At number 1, Not All Diamonds and Rosé by Dave Quinn. An oral history of the reality TV franchise, The Real Housewives. At number 2, Woke Inc. by Vivek Ramaswamy, the founder and executive chairman of the biopharmaceutical company Rovant Sciences, shares his perspectives on American capitalism. At number 3, To Rescue the Republic by Bret Baier with Catherine Whitney. The Fox News chief political anchor recounts challenges faced by Ulysses S. Grant. At number 4, Peril by Bob Woodward and Robert Costa. The Washington Post journalists detail the dangers and challenges during the transition to the Biden presidency. And at number 5, Midnight in Washington by Adam Schiff. The congressman from California describes risks to our democracy and the resurgence of autocracy. Our first recommended read of the week is the new novel Better Off Dead, co-authored by Lee Child and Andrew Child. Jack Reacher is back in a brand new, page-turning thriller from acclaimed #1 best-selling authors Lee Child and Andrew Child. Digging graves had not been part of my plans when I woke up that morning. Reacher goes where he wants, when he wants. That morning, he was heading west, walking under the merciless desert sun, until he comes upon a curious scene. A Jeep has crashed into the only tree for miles around, and a woman is slumped over the steering wheel. Is she dead? No, nothing is what it seems. The woman is Michael Leah Fenton, an Army veteran turned FBI agent trying to find her twin brother who might be mixed up with some dangerous people. Most of those people would rather die than betray their terrifying leader, who has burrowed his influence deep into the nearby border town, a backwater that has seen better days. The mysterious Denendocker rules from the shadows, out of sight and under the radar, keeping his dealings in the dark. He would know the fate of Fenton's brother. Reacher is good at finding people who don't want to be found, so he offers to help, despite feeling Fenton is keeping secrets of her own. But a life hangs in the balance, maybe more than one. But to bring Denendocker down will be the riskiest job of Reacher's life. And failure is not an option, because in this kind of game, the loser is always better off dead. And if you're looking for a new thriller, there you go, that definitely qualifies. Our second recommended read of the week is a 360-degree turn from the first. Whereas the first is kind of a semi-dark thriller, our second recommended read is a hopeful book, which is appropriately enough called The Book of Hope, a survival guide for trying times, and it's co-authored by Jane Goodall and Douglas Abrams, with assistance from Gail Hudson. At a time of pandemic, political divisiveness, and panic over climate change, is it possible to have hope? World-renowned naturalist Goodall joins with internationally best-selling author Abrams to argue in the affirmative. Drawing on her work and her life, Goodall enunciates 4 reasons for hope. 1. The amazing human intellect. 2. The resilience of nature. 3. The power of young people. And 4. The indomitable human spirit. Her own story of hope begins in the early years, as she lived through World War II, then continues with her years in Gombe studying chimpanzees, and the realization that she had to go out into the world as an advocate for environmental justice. And that's the Library Journal review of what is no doubt a hopeful read. That one's definitely going on my reading list. Moving on to our first audiobook recommendation of the week. This one's called Blackbird Fly. It's written by Lisa Culledon and read by Denise Stratting. Merle Bennett realizes almost immediately, after her husband suddenly dies, that it was no wonder she didn't know anything about him. Still, the will's quite a shock, and so is an intriguing surprise that Harry left. He left her a family home in a tiny French village. Or maybe a family home, because who was Harry's family? Finding out is half the fun. Merle sets out to claim her inheritance, adolescent son in tow, and thus begins a sojourn reminiscent of a year in Provence, or perhaps under the Tuscan sun. The tiny Dordogne town Merle finds herself in is the quintessential village, just perfect for a murder and a rollicking good time. Once Merle gets there, she finds, well, France. She also finds an unexpected romance, mystery galore, and murder. And not just murder, but the unnerving experience of being a suspect. Once her passport is confiscated, what can she do but stay and restore her ancient battered house? While enjoying the tender attentions of the unusually well-educated, handsome, and yes, quite mysterious roofer she's hired. Particularly recommended for those who love France or have plans to visit there. Mystery lovers, chick lit fans, and cozy fanatics will all find this a thoroughly enjoyable read. And on a reader's note, this novel is the first book in the Bennett Sisters series. Our second audiobook recommendation for this week is the new Victoria Thompson novel, City of Schemes. The Great War is over, and Elizabeth and Gideon are busily planning their wedding and welcoming home old friends now discharged from the army. One of them, Captain Archie Castens, the son and heir of a wealthy Knickerbocker family, seems less happy to be home than Gideon had expected. While Archie was in France, he fell in love with a beautiful French woman named Noelle. He desperately wanted to propose, but he was already engaged to a girl he had known all his life back in America. When Archie receives a letter supposedly from Noelle, begging for money to help her flee the terrible conditions in France and come to America, Elizabeth is suspicious. There's no way to verify the letter is actually from Noelle, and she fears that a con man, or woman, might be trying to take advantage of Archie in his vulnerable state. But that's not all Elizabeth has to worry about. Vicious thug Oscar Thornton has gotten wind of her wedding announcement and realizes the woman who conned him is still alive and well. Gideon and Elizabeth have to figure out a way to help their friend while making sure their worst enemy doesn't destroy their future. And on a reader's note, this new novel is the fourth book in the Counterfeit Lady series. If you'd like to start reading the series at the beginning, check out the first book, titled City of Lies. Moving on to our first streaming recommendation for this week, and in keeping with the season, I'm going to recommend the film Hocus Pocus from 1993, directed by Kenny Ortega, and starring Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy. You can stream this from Disney+, Amazon, Google Play, and Apple TV, and of course you can also request it on DVD through StarCat. Hollywood superstar Bette Midler joins Sarah Jessica Parker and Kathy Najimy as three outlandishly wild witches who return from 17th century Salem for a night of zany fun and comic chaos. After they're accidentally conjured up by some unsuspecting pranksters, the tricky 300-year-old trio sets out to cast a spell on the town and reclaim their youth. But first, they must outwit three pesky kids who are determined to foil their scheme. Loaded with bewitching laughs and magical special effects, Hocus Pocus is an outrageous comedy that's sure to entertain everyone. And that's the Apple overview of the film. And on a viewer's note, I know that they are filming a sequel to this movie right now with the original cast. I don't know if they're going to call it Hocus Pocus 2 or what the title might be. And of course, no idea when it's going to be released. Obviously not in time for Halloween 2021, but they are filming a sequel. So if you like this one, and it is a fun film, just be aware that a sequel will be coming in the near future. Our second recommended stream of the week is the new film The Muppets Haunted Mansion, directed by Kirk Thatcher and starring Will Arnett, Tarjay Henderson, and Derek Criss. And you can stream this one from Disney+. The great Gonzo, world-famous daredevil artiste, has done it all seen it all, and survived it all. But on Halloween night, the fearless Gonzo takes on the greatest challenge of his life by spending one very daring night in the most grim, grinning place on earth, the Haunted Mansion. Inspired by all four of the iconic Disney Haunted Mansion attractions, located across the globe at various Disney parks, the Muppets Haunted Mansion includes many hidden Easter eggs for Disney fans, and Muppetized sets and props that help immerse viewers in the storytelling experience. This film marks the Muppets' first ever Halloween special and features 3 new original songs: Rest in Peace, Life Hereafter, and Tie the Knot Tango. The film also includes a star-studded Muppets cast, celebrity cameos, and spooky fun for families to enjoy together. And that's the Disney Plus overview. And our final streaming recommendation for this week is the 1957 classic Funny Face, directed by Stanley Donen and starring Audrey Hepburn and Fred Astaire. You can stream this movie from Hoopla, Amazon, Apple, and Google Play, and you can request it on DVD through StarCat. This filmed version of the 1927 George Gershwin Broadway musical, Funny Face, utilizes the play's original star, Fred Astaire, and several of the original tunes, and then goes merrily off on its own. Astaire is cast as fashion photographer Dick Avery, who is sent out by his female boss Maggie Prescott to find a new face. It doesn't take Dick long to discover Joe, an owlish Greenwich Village bookstore clerk. Acting as Pygmalion to Joe's Galita, Dick whisks the wide-eyed girl off to Paris and transforms her into the fashion world's hottest model. Along the way, he falls in love with Joe and works overtime to wean her away from such phony baloney intellectuals as Professor Emile Fluschier. The Gershwin tunes include the title song, "Swonderful," "How Long Has This Been Going On?" and "He Loves and She Loves." Among the newer numbers is Kate Thompson's energetic opener, "Think Pink." For years available only in washed-out flat prints, Funny Face was eventually restored to its full Technicolor and VistaVision glory. And that is the all-movie review of a classic film. So if you're not in the mood for Halloween this weekend, but you are in the mood for a classic film, check out Funny Face. And our Hoopla recommendation for this week, in keeping with the season, is Season 1 of the TV series Discovery of Witches, in keeping, of course, with the fact that Halloween is Sunday. So just a little about the plot. Brilliant historian Diana Bishop is a witch denying her heritage. But when she unexpectedly comes across an ancient, bewitched manuscript, she is thrown into a dangerous mystery and into the path of an enigmatic geneticist and vampire, Matthew Claremont. This romantic thriller is adapted from Deborah Harkness's best-selling trilogy of novels. And as a bonus Hoopla recommendation for this week, I'm inspired by a previous recommendation, The Muppets Haunted Mansion, to recommend a film with a similar plot. It's called Castle of Blood from 1964. This one isn't, of course, a Disney film. It's a classic horror film, but it does have a similar plot. A journalist takes a bet that he can spend the night in a haunted castle on All Hallows Eve. During his stay, he bears witness to the castle's gruesome past, coming to life before him and falls in love with a beautiful female ghost. And the ghost, of course, is portrayed by Barbara Steele. So if you're looking for a classic Halloween film this weekend, you might check out Castle of Blood, available for instant checkout through Hoopla. Have questions about this weekly videocast? Let me know. Send an email to me at reimerl@stls.org and I'll get back to you. And a note on library hours. The library is open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. We're open on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and we're closed on Sundays. And just as an hour's FYI, next week, the week of November 1st, the library will be closed on Wednesday, November 3rd and Thursday, November 4th, so the library's electric system can be upgraded. We will resume regular library hours on Friday, November 5th. The library's website is found at ssclibrary.org, and you can find a whole host of information on our website about upcoming events. You can access our catalogs, schedule a curbside appointment, and much more. Again, that's ssclibrary.org. StarCat and its companion app BookMine. StarCat is the catalog of physical library materials available to all cardholders of the public libraries in the Southern Tier Library System. STLS encompasses the public libraries in Steuben, Chemung, Yates, Schuyler, and Allegheny counties. StarCat is found online at starcat.stls.org. And the companion app BookMine, which is BookMyne, is available in your app store. If you'd rather access the catalog through the app, download it from your app store. The digital catalog and its companion app Libby. The digital catalog is available online at stls.overdrive.com. The digital catalog features eBooks, downloadable audiobooks, and a handful of streaming videos. And if you would rather access the digital catalog and its content through an app, the app is called Libby, Libby. You can download it from your app store and access the same catalog of items through the app. Hoopla, and of course its companion app, also called Hoopla. The Hoopla catalog features ebooks, comic books, full-length albums, downloadable audiobooks, and streaming videos, including both TV shows and movies. All Hoopla items are available for instant checkout for Southeast Steuben County Library cardholders, with a maximum of 6 checkouts per month. The Hoopla catalog is available online at hoopladigital.com, or you can download the app to your mobile device or smart TV. Communicating with the library. An important thing. If you have questions about library materials or services, you are welcome to go the traditional route and simply give us a call. The library's telephone number is area code 607-936-3713. We have the same phone number we've had for decades, so if you have an old phone book floating around the house, you'll find our number in your phone book too. And you can also connect with the library via social media. The library has pages on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Library blogs, we have 5 of them. We have the Book Club for Adults blog, which is found at ssclbook.club, and you guessed it, that one focuses on the monthly adult book club. We have the Corning NY History blog, which is our local history blog, which is found at corningnyhistory.com. Creation Stationery, our Makerspace blog, found at creationstationery.com. Story Musings, a blog hosted by the library's resident author and head of adult services Michelle Wells, found at storymusing.blogspot.com. And Tech and Book Talk, e-readers, viewers, and listeners advisory, which is found at sscltech.com. And here briefly are our references for this week.